Thank you, Councillor. Oh, now we've got everyone. We've got Councillor Crum and Councillor Watson.
Thanks. I was just going to exactly echo and repeat what Councillor Darby has just said. Again, support the Board of Inquiry process, but we do have a long way to go in the east-west connections. So would almost say word for word what you've just said, Chris. The integration of
Hang on, we're only dealing with the north one at the moment.
Right.
We're not on east-west yet.
Well, the next one.
I've just
save those words. Cut and paste what he said for the next one. Councillor Watson.
Thank you. No, Councillor Darby makes some very valid points here. I would just say, however, that the Northern Corridor team have been very active in this area in terms of consultation for quite some time. They have an office that's permanently manned in the North Harbour region at any community events like tree planting and whatnot. They're out there consulting with people. Ran into a gentleman at a tree planting. He came over from Pakuranga, who was in the team. So I would just like to put on record the very thorough and accessible public consultation that they have carried out with the community, and they have, in my view anyway, gone that extra mile to meet, because notwithstanding the very valid issues that Councillor Darby brings up.
Thank you, councillors. That's why we were keen to do the presentation, so it's really clear. Board of Inquiry, council can make a submission, we can be proactive on these issues rather than simply being the regulator. So I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. And then same issues east-west. So
thank you, Madam Chair. So in terms of the presentation disappeared. Thank you. So in terms of the east-west link, this is a new transport link on the north side of the Mangere Inlet between State Highway 1 and at Onehunga and State Highway 20 at Onehunga and State Highway 1 at Mount Wellington. It's a key transport project that has been identified in the Auckland plan, and the project East-West Link project team are currently undertaking public consultation at the moment, non-statutory public consultation, and that ends on the 15th of July. It is in an area of ecological significance. It includes Anne's Creek, includes other outstanding natural features such as Hamlin's Hill, Mutakuroa, and South Down lava flows. In terms of the key project objectives, this includes improving travel times and travel reliability between businesses in Onehunga and Penrose, improving safety and accessibility for cycling and walking between Mangere Bridge, Onehunga and Sylvia Park, as well as improving bus journeys between State Highway 20 and Onehunga. So in your presentation pack, you have the conceptual design that the project team is currently consulting on, and I just wanted to highlight some of the key elements, key features of the project. So this includes, just starting from west moving to east, it includes a new interchange at Nielsen Street. So this will be a reconfiguration of the existing interchange to establish a connection to the new east-west link project from State Highway 20 and connecting to the surrounding local roads. Along the foreshore, there will be, what is proposed is a new 4-lane road connecting from Onehunga to Great South Road, Sylvia Park Road. Moving further west, in terms of Sylvia Park Road, there will be a new southbound connection from East-West Link to State Highway 1. Moving to the east side, there will be a new bridge crossing proposed at Panama Road and a new interchange upgraded interchange at Princess Street to improve connectivity to surrounding communities east of State Highway 1. And finally, there will be improved pedestrian and cycleway connections proposed from Old Mangere Bridge through to Sylvia Park. This includes both a proposed commuter shared path as well as a recreational trail along the foreshore, as well as a number of local road improvements and connections, including improvements to Captain Springs Road, Galway Street, South Down Port Area and Hugo Johnson Drive. I pretty much covered that in the last slide. That just highlights what I have just gone through. So happy to take any questions, but that's just a quick overview of some of the key elements of the project. Thank you.
So before we go to questions, Simon, did you want to raise your issues? Welcome.
Kia ora te he mana ngā mihi nui, kia ora koutou ngā mima o te kaunahera o Tamaki Makaurau. Ko Simon Randall tōku ingoa te he mana o te Paware Arohe o Mangakeke Tamaki. So I'm Simon, I'm the chair of Mangakeke Tamaki Local Board. Tēnei te wiki o te reo Māori. So embracing your direction, Madam Chair. Just in terms of the questions before you, to consider the specific item on today's agenda, the first question is this regionally significant, the east-west connections? I don't think the government would be spending $1.4 to $1.8 billion on something that wasn't regionally significant. So our board absolutely agrees that it is a regionally significant, a nationally significant project, and so agree with that. In terms of the questions about the way that this question should be considered in terms of the consenting process, our board hasn't been asked for its formal views, and so I'm not going to be able to definitely say exactly what we think of this question, but I'm using our local board plan and informal conversations that we've had with officers to inform this. Some principles. The first is that this is a huge project which will have impacts in our community of significance. Hopefully they will be significantly good. But the first principle I would say is that the community needs to be involved and strongly listened to. There has been a lot of engagement going forward, and that continues through this informal engagement phase at the moment. And certainly we've worked closely with NZTA to ensure that that occurs. We think that referral straight to the Environment Court would exclude our community and would strongly urge against that as an option, because it would mean that community would have to employ lawyers and go through what is quite an adversarial and difficult process for our community to navigate. And so that leaves two processes, which is the Board of Inquiry one or a straight notice of requirement resource consent program. In terms of between those issues, as I said, we haven't discussed this as a board formally, but if we could get the right community consultation and involvement, we'd probably lean to a Board of Inquiry, because that means that council could be a strong submitter and incorporate the views of the local board in their submissions, as officers have been working with us to do so. And ensure that the key issues and the key matters, of which there are many, are well considered. We also think a Board of Inquiry process can take sort of a wider view, as has been demonstrated, and that's certainly what's required in such a big project. So informally, probably lean to a Board of Inquiry for those reasons. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Really appreciate your feedback on that. Thank you, Simon. So, Councillor Crum.
I'll just repeat what I said earlier, and also note, because I think it is worth noting how well both reports read, and it's sort of a frequently asked questions almost format, so I haven't seen that format in a while, and I thought they were both very well written. Thanks.
Good feedback. Thank you. Councillor Cashmore.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Just with the east-west link, a real bone of contention with the commuting public and the heavy transport public is on State Highway 1, the Mount Wellington flyover. There's no specific works mentioned there. Is there any talk about works being done for that flyover on State Highway 1, where this junction does head south and the other alternative route goes north further up? But that is a major choke point on our transport network. So has that been looked at to be included in this type of scope?
I believe so. There is a southbound connection from Sylvia Park Road through to State Highway 1. I'm not sure if that's the area that you're talking about, but
it's the north. It's the bridge there that's 2 lanes each side with 3 lanes going out of it and 3 lanes going out on the other side. It's a choke point. So it's whether there's any work being done to investigate that State Highway 1 overbridge choke point.
I guess that's exactly what will
I
come
don't-
out through this whole process, councillor. So we can't dig down into the details at this point. This is simply, is this the process we're endorsing or not? Councillor Wood and then
Just-
Councillor Darby.
Well, just in relation to this project, it obviously impacts on various communities, distinct communities. There's the area around Great South Road at Southdown, and then there's obviously the areas through along the Manukau foreshore, and then the areas around Onehunga. So what processes will the council go through to get the views of those areas, the people of those areas, so that that can be integrated into the council submission?
As part of the process, once the application is lodged with the Board of Inquiry, as we had indicated before, council will make a submission. As part of that submission, it will also incorporate local board views. But as part of the process, any member of the community can make a submission as part of the Board of Inquiry process. So if they want to raise any concerns or issues, they can make a submission formally through to the Board of Inquiry process, and it's quite similar to our council hearing process when we're considering a notice of requirement or resource consent.
So Councillor Wood, are you wanting to know a little bit about how do we physically get that information out there so that people are able to participate?
Yeah, I think that, you know, the public have really got to, well, the people have we've got to really know that, well, be certain that we understand the views of the community when we're putting our submission together, because, as I said, they're diverse communities of different interests. One is a business area and one is a business residential area, and it's becoming more of a residential area around Onehunga. So that's the kind of question I want to know, and to make some certainty that the council will be interfacing with the community and getting their views known before we dive off making our submission. And obviously linking in with the local board as well. Okay, thank you.
I suppose in terms of that point, once we prepare a council submission, I think as a council family, we will work up a framework for how council, the organisation, will work together in collecting views across the organisation, which I understand would encompass views of the local community.
Thank you.
I'm just talking to Dean, and this is probably in partnership with the local board. I would not presume that our submission would endeavour to incorporate all the views of the local community. I think it's twofold. We're both a technical submitter and raising the wider technical issues, as well as acting as an advocate for getting the opportunity for inputting out to our community. I just don't think we would presume to speak for that whole community. So I think we need to be proactive with our local board and making sure that the community is enabled and well informed and encouraged to participate. But I think we'd fall into a real trap trying to do it for them. Councillor Darby.
Chair, I think I might speak to it once it's moved, and I'll speak after Councillor Crum if she is going to speak to it, because she's a local councillor. I'm
presuming that we are kind of doing that already. So Councillor Crum, you happy to move?
I'll second it.
And seconded, okay. So it's been moved and seconded. Are you happy to talk now, Councillor Darby? Questions?
Yep, okay.
Oh. Okay, sorry, you hadn't signalled, Councillor. Let's just tie-ho any debate for a moment. Why don't we just take Councillor Casey with questions?
In the report it says that only one local board was consulted and that the Mangere o Tahuhu local board wasn't asked for its views. Can you say why?
Sorry, the project covers 2 local boards, you're correct. In terms of, there was paragraph 39, we had indicated council staff will update local boards. We had, at the time of writing the report, scheduled a meeting for the 28th of June, so that was a week ago with Mangere Tamaki, and we have another briefing with Mangere o Tahuhu local board tomorrow in terms of going through our understanding of the project and technical issues that we've raised to date. I hope that clarifies.
So why was the Mangere Tahuhu board not consulted? That was my question.
They changed the rules.
Pardon? Sorry,
Why weren't they consulted?
as part of...
That was my question. There are two boards, one's here and been consulted and the other hasn't. My question was why not? NZTA, the project team, has actually gone to brief both local boards on the project in recent times. Council officers have briefed the Mangakiki Tamaki local board recently and will be going to the Mangere Otahuhu local board. Yeah, so why has there been no feedback from the Mangere Otahuhu local board here today alongside the feedback from the other local board? That's my question.
I can't